Hello, everyone. Again, this is Kate with 21st Century Leaders. Just want to welcome you to this month's Webinar Wednesday. So we appreciate you guys taking the time to be here and join us for a very special webinar on lessons for future leaders, how to live a life with meaning, with our special guest, Patrick Lynch, president of the Frontier Group, and a very proud volunteer and partner of ours, associated with SHRM Atlanta, which is the Society of Human Resource Management of Atlanta chapter. Before we get started, just want to go over just a few things for those who have joined us early on, that you will be able to let us know if you're having any audio problems throughout the presentation, and you can do that on the chat side box on the left-hand side of your screen, as well as that's where you'll also ask any questions that you have throughout the presentation. And at the end of Mr. Lynch's presentation, you'll have time to ask him questions, and that chat box is where you'll prompt those questions, and we'll go from there and kind of moderate it that way. So before we get started, I think we have almost everyone here. So we had a lot of students sign up, so it's great to see so many of you joining us this evening from across the state. And I even know this webinar was going to be broadcasted at a school through a group of students as well. So Patrick, we'll just kind of go ahead and introduce you, and you can kind of get started and tell a little bit about yourself and get started on our webinar. So welcome, and thank you again for hosting.
All right. Well, thank you, Kate. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to spend with me. And yeah, what I'd like to do first, this is me, so that's a picture of myself. I'm at the other end of the age spectrum, as you can tell by the gray hair, versus all of you in attendance today. But I hope that what we cover is going to kind of connect with you, because I can think back to my time as a student, and I'll relate a couple of those stories to you. I'm the president of the Frontier Group. It's a consulting company that we work with human resource departments across Atlanta and Charlotte on a variety of things, all involving how to develop their people better. So we have ways where they can hire better through various assessments. We have ways that we can get individuals coached to help better prepare them for promotions, to be more productive. We get involved with teams in terms of how to learn to be more productive and work together towards a common good. And if there's ever an unfortunate situation where where companies have to shrink the number of people in their organization, we get involved with career transition assistance to help them along the way. Prior to being the president of the Frontier Group, I had a career in consumer products marketing, and you can kind of see some of the names there of Georgia Pacific, Cow Brands, Kraft, General Foods, and Hahn. And the way I like to describe it is that in marketing, I had managed products ranging from Jell-O to steel safes, from office paper to office furniture, soaps, lotions, to one of my fun facts that I introduced the world's first carbonated bath tablet, and that's a story on its own. We're going to be talking about living a life of meaning. As far as a leader, it's more than just the career and material successes, and really it's about the entire you. And it's going to be something that all of you are going to be addressing throughout your whole life. And part of what I'm hoping to inspire is that each of you, if you don't already have that heart to serve, that you want to get involved and realize that there's so many more important things that beyond just earning a lot of money and having a great title. And so with that, what I've done in my life is that I've gotten involved in a lot of great organizations where I can learn to do something more for others. Kate mentioned as far as volunteering for 21st century leaders, I absolutely love volunteering. All the students that I've met have been very inspiring, all intelligent, motivated, just wonderful in a lot of ways. And any way that I can do to help, it gives me so much more to be part of this great group and helping out. I also get involved with a nonprofit called Year Up. And if any of you are familiar with it, it takes mostly minority youth, urban youth, and they're young adults ranging from 18 to 24, and they give them very intensive job skills training and then plug them into very meaningful internships where they can now create a real meaningful career path for themselves. And I'm a mentor for each of the classes that come up, and it's just been a great thing for me to watch these young adults grow and prosper. And I help out in terms of being someone that can provide professional advice, any questions that they have in terms of just where to take their career to the personal. And so anything that I can do that can help will be great. Last group that I'm part of is Special Pops Tennis. And Special Pops Tennis is a program for the adaptive needs community. And I've been a tennis player my whole life, and I went to the Summer Olympic Games at Emory University and saw the tennis program there with all the Special Olympics athletes, and I was hooked from that point forward. And I run one of the training academies. I sit on the board, and again, it's just one of those things that I get so much more in return than any of the time that I spend. So the point here is that it's a way, and I'm not saying, oh, well, look at me, but I think you can see that when I start looking at what I've started to achieve in life, I'm trying always to get that balance where you can have the success that comes with being a leader, with managing a business, being a professional, but it is so much more meaningful when you can round it out with how you can serve others. So that's kind of a long preface, but getting into the Kate, it's not advancing for some reason. Is there? Kate, are you there? Hello?
It was advancing on our end, the slides.
Oh, my. Okay, well, mine, I'm not, I'm seeing just the same slide, so let me just do a refresh. Maybe that'll...
I have it on slide 3.
Yeah, see, I'm showing slide 2 of 12, and it's like it's locked or something. Okay, now it's... Is
everyone able to see slide 3, or are you still seeing just about Patrick?
Right, now here I'm on slide 3. Okay, well,
okay, you're good. Okay.
Yeah, it's my... All right.
It's
David
technology.
Brooks. Yeah, David Brooks. He's a well-known author. He is on a number of these news talk shows, if any of you have seen it, and he wrote a great book recently called The Road to Character. And in that book, what he talks about is this balance that we all try to achieve in life regarding resume virtues and eulogy virtues. And resume virtues are those that are present day, they're short-term material. So that's everything from where you go to college, what job that you have, where you live, what car you drive, all those things that that are accomplishments, and they're and believe me, I'm never going to say they're unimportant, but what you have to balance them on is what he calls the eulogy virtues, which are more in the future, they're deeper, lasting, and they call them eulogy virtues because it'd be what would people say if the unfortunate case arrived and they're talking about you at your eulogy. I'm much older than all of you in attendance, but I can tell you in the ones I've been to, you don't sit and read from somebody's resume when you want to remember them. You read, you start telling stories and start talking about the impact that they had in others' lives, relationships that they had, what they did for others, and so this is kind of as all of you as young leaders, this is going to be extremely important for you because this is where you can really find that all the things that I'm sure all of you are going to do in life and be successful, how you can really now get much more meaning out of all of that. The challenge we face, though, is that we all focus primarily on the resume virtues. And it's understandable. We're all human. I've been that way myself. I was very career-focused. I put in a lot of hours that would come at the sacrifice of my wife, my daughter, my friends, but I was bound and determined that was going to be my measure of success. That it was all the things that quote unquote I did on the resume, and you start to lose track of what else is there, and that what else is there is that inner voice. It's that thing inside of you as far as how do you want to be defined as a person? I mean, are they going to say you were a good friend? Were you kind, generous? Did you care for others? Were you a good, husband, wife, partner? All those things that are going to kind of define you as a person. And what I've seen is that it's been very encouraging because within 21st Century Leaders, I start to see many of the students that get involved that are that really do they're starting to shape this entire person. That said, I'll tell you that I've had some interesting things where I get involved with a lot of students with special pops tennis, and the thing that I see is that when we run our training academies each week, I can tell you these students that are there with a heart to serve, and that there's something about the program and the athletes that we work with that touches them, and they really want to be involved because it's important. There's others, and they're not bad people, but there's others that are there basically to get their service hours checked off. And they know, all of you in high school, I forget, I can't quote the number of service hours you're expected to deliver, but, they're all there, and then, I'm signing off on all the forms to show that they attended, and then the box is checked, and they're off and doing it. And if you think about that, that's literally a resume. You're taking something about how to help others and turning it into a resume virtue, which would be something on a college app or whatever. So it's things to keep in mind, and there's so many millions of different ways to be involved and to help. And each of you are going to have your own path, and I'm certain that you'll find something that is going to be important to you and also important to others. And this is going to be something that is a lifelong challenge for you as far as balancing the two, because we're always going to be human, and we want that be recognized for accomplishments and material benefits that they bring. And it's again listening to that inner voice, kind of hearing okay, what is this, and what is it that I could be doing that's more? Because you'll have basically a path where there's two selves to you. So your external resume self, you want to conquer the world. I want to be a VP by age 30. I want to, start my own company. I want to, go and climb Mount Kilimanjaro, whatever that happens to be. Where your internal self, that eulogy self, that's going to be someone where it's going to say, well, what are you doing to serve? How are you out there serving the world? That external person is going to be about wanting to be creative and accomplish, and and get things that are out there that you're going to be known for. A big cultural element that we have in our country is just the allure of fame, and just being that somehow that being famous is an achievement, and it kind of loses something for many of us. The balance is that you are looking for that achievement with some higher purpose in mind. You'll always have that tug with wanting to be successful, balanced by what are you doing as far as charity, love, and redemption. And being career-oriented is always good. All of you are going to, your heads are in the right direction as far as wanting to be successful, and that's good, but it's also something that always listen to that voice that it's not only to do good, but also to be good. And that is important. And I'll give you a couple examples as far as making a positive difference in the world. Here's a couple tests of characters that come right out of today's headline. Martin Shkreli. If any of you have not heard of him, I'll talk about him now. That he is a relatively young person, 32 years old, former hedge fund manager, bought a company called Turing Pharmaceuticals. And what he discovered is that there's a drug that Turing manufactures, Daraprim, that serves it's a small niche illness, toxoplasmosis, and it's a case that it's a very effective drug, been around 65 years, and it has it really does work for that particular treatment. Well, opportunistically, he found that there was no competition, and so with that, he could effectively go and raise the price to whatever it is he wanted. So in his case, what he did is he took a $13.50 pill and made it $750, and it was like a 5,000% increase. From a business perspective, very shrewd. You have to applaud him that he found that gap in the market and was able to exploit that. As far as that inner person, what's that say about him? As far as taking pure advantage of people that are vulnerable, many that can't, that may not now be able to afford the medicine, and so it was one that here's somebody that inner voice was completely muted, because I agree that on a business perspective it was a very shrewd move, but on a human perspective it was a complete and total fail. Another one, Stuart Parnell. He's a former CEO of Peanut Corp of America, and he just recently got sentenced to, I forget, 28 years, I think, for his contribution to the death of 9 people for poisoned peanut butter that he shipped out of one of his factories. And here was somebody that had violated the ultimate sacred oath of any food manufacturer, where he took profit over safety, and he knew that this product was tainted, and he just took a calculated risk that it wasn't going to hurt anybody significantly enough, and that then he could keep his production quotas up, and continue to manufacture away. Well, unfortunately, the calculation went wrong. People died, and he's paying the ultimate price. And again, when you start looking at the do good versus being good, here's where, again, Stuart Parnell, another one that failed. Last one is Martin Winterkorn. Martin Winterkorn. Now, his name may not be as familiar, maybe if some of you are following the news a little closely, but he is the CEO of Volkswagen, and they happen to just now be under a lot of attention because what they did is they created a very innovative piece of software that could basically trick any emission test. So when an emission test was being done, the software would kick in and it would show that that the diesel cars that were in question were all in compliance. Well, then when the emission test was completed, the software would click back, and the cars would now all of a sudden have much of the emission equipment disabled. It allowed them to run more efficient, made for a better driver experience, but it also completely broke the trust not only of the government, but also of all the people that were buying his diesel cars, thinking they were doing something good for the environment. Well, it turns out that to their complete and total dismay, well, goodness, now here I am, and I'm polluting more than the average automobile. So it's a case that somebody who walks that path, and what path is he going to take? And now think of those three people in years and years from now, when somebody talks about them. I can hold out that they're going to be looking for redemption somewhere along the way. They may try to correct themselves, but for where it stands right now, you can see that the things that are going to define them are things that nobody would want to have as a descriptor of who they are. And that's always going to be that balance that all of us have, and it's one that as leaders, I think each of you just have to look at this, because as you move up in your careers, you're going to have responsibilities, you're going to have decisions, and you're going to have situations where it's going to be challenging. And again, this is where that inner voice will come in terms of how to talk, how to kind of address this. I mentioned David Brooks in his book, Road to Character, and he, in that book, talks about some steps that can be made for the strong inner life. The first thing he talks about is this humility shift. And I'm actually going to read a little bit from the book just so you get a better sense of what he's talking about. And his words, we live in the culture of the big me. The meritocracy wants you to promote yourself. Social media, think about all the Facebook posts, wants you to broadcast a highlight reel of your life. Your parents and teachers were always telling you how wonderful you were. But all the people that I've deeply admired and are profoundly honest about their own weaknesses, they have identified their core sins, whether it's selfishness, desperate need for approval, cowardice, hard-heartedness, or whatever. They have traced how that core sin leads to the behavior that makes them feel ashamed. They have achieved a profound humility, which has best been defined as an intense self-awareness from a position of other-centeredness. Another way of saying that is that they I do a lot of coaching, and what I found in many of the coaching assignments I have where very, very talented people are having challenges in their companies, it's around them not being self-aware, and they feel that they kind of almost tuned out everyone else, and they have lost that ability to be humble, and just addressing that is something that's the first step towards this whole path of building character. In confronting your own weakness, that just goes along with the whole shift towards humility. That all of us have this. Full confession, I can have a temper, and the temper will lead me to be argumentative, temperamental. It will kind of close me off in terms of listening to others. And it is something that I've needed to address, and I work at it. And I've been working at it since I've been in high school. Sometimes not so successfully, but nevertheless, it's something that all of us will benefit if we look at ourselves introspectively. What is it that could hold us back, and then being able to address that. And going back to kind of a resume virtue, what I can tell each of you is that, and you'll see this more in your career, that is these things around self-awareness and not positively addressing a weakness of yours that will hold your career back. And what you'll find is that talent alone will not make up for the fact if you have lousy relationships with your coworkers. And it's one that if you lack humility and are out there taking credit for everything, you're going to make for not a very good leader. And people will not want to work for you. They will not want to follow you. So these things all begin to play together. And the dependency of others is that you realize that it's not all, oh, look at me, and it's all that it's you. That success is highly contingent upon the contribution and help of other people. And that's not just career-wise, but that's also as far as how to grow to be a better person in terms of others, spouses, partners, boyfriends, girlfriends. All those we all find are going to be vital because they help us in that path. And then the last thing is this whole thing about listening to that inner voice. It's a journey. You start now and it'll never end. I'm still on that journey and will be for a very long time. And it's one where you just want to be able to always listen and sometimes life's going to be that way, and that inner voice will be drowned out. But just try to listen to it and be able to find out, okay, what is it that's right? What could I be doing with others? How can I help? So wrapping up, the 21st Century Leaders program that all of you are part of, and I hope to meet many of you in the upcoming season. It's a great place to begin to explore who you are, what you want to do in this world, and that each of you, by virtue of being in a program like this, chances are very good you're going to have business and social success. But continue, and I continue to listen to that inner voice in terms of just trying to find a way to get a more, it's going to be a more fulfilling path, more complete. And when people remember you, just think about that in terms of how you want to be remembered. And it's not going to be, again, them reading off of your resume. It's going to be the relationships and the ways that you impacted others. So with that, I would just thank you. Anybody who's interested as far as the presentation, I always share it with Kate, and it'll be available for anybody. Here's my contact information, and any of you, if you want to reach out, please do so. I'm on LinkedIn. If any of you, I don't know if it's still early for you guys to be involved with LinkedIn, but that's kind of my social media channel of choice. And if you ever want to connect with me, please do so. So, Kate, that's pretty much it for me. I guess we just turn it over for any discussion.
Yeah, thank you so much, Patrick. I think that was a very thought-provoking webinar and really gets not only our students, but even myself or whatever stage of leaders that we are in to really think about our own lives and careers and how we can make it better for everyone else around us and really the lasting impact that we'll leave. So thank you for that. We do open it up to any questions or answers or any questions that you might have. So feel free to just type them there in the chat box. And then we can address that to Patrick. We do have one question here already. So what are ways we can celebrate our weaknesses in an effort to be better leaders?
Well, as far as first, what you do in terms of weakness, as far as celebrating weaknesses, is that you take an objective look at exactly what it is that your weakness is, because it's hard to address them unless you really arrive at, okay, what is it that I could see that would be a weakness. Many times it's interesting because somebody may be very defensive or argumentative, and they'll say that's a weakness, when in fact what you find is that there's beneath that an insecurity, that they just feel that they're not confident enough in who they are, and so as a defense mechanism they begin to kind of lash out or create distraction or whatever, and so it does take a lot of work in terms of just being able to find that. And then the second thing is just take note and see exactly how it is that what are you doing to address this? If it's a temper, and I'll give you examples with me, is that I've learned not to, just to kind of almost have a delay button when it comes to reaction. And that has helped me quite a bit. And think about the world of email, where it's so easy to just blast out a reaction and you can't retract it. So, having that pause has helped out quite a bit. And so you're not out there regretting whatever you wrote on email or Twitter or Facebook post or whatever.
Okay, great. Another question that was brought up was the student asked, I think we're all guilty of putting, having those service projects and having to put down kind of filling our quota. So how do you best balance, hitting the requirements and also really taking on projects that are meaningful?
What you do is especially with 21st century leaders, you're young, you're being exposed to a lot of things. Just start with try to have that heart to serve in terms of how to help others, and then just try as many things as you can till you find the something that will click with you. And it's going to be different for everybody. And so, if you're trying things and you're getting your service hours, that's great. I mean, and yet, if it's not something that really clicks, I wouldn't feel bad about it, and you just go and find the thing that is right for you. You can kind of see with Year Up and 21st Century Leaders, and even Special Pops Tennis, that all have a youth element to it, and that's been kind of the theme in my life in terms of how to give back. And I look back years earlier, I was very active in Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and so I found a lot of fulfillment in what I was doing with Big Brothers. So that works for me. It won't work for everybody. So it's just trying a lot of things. I mean, it could be within the church. It could be through education. It could be, it's limitless in terms of what you have. The one thing too, I'll tell you in terms of giving is don't concern yourself overly with having to make some big impact in the world. Many times people want this big, they're going to go out and it's going to impact thousands of people, and if you really are doing something good and it's for one other person, it's wonderful, and so almost doing something, starting small, and even staying small is perfectly fine. And try. I think I've seen sometimes where people get hung up that they really are looking for this whole, this grand gesture, and it's really not as necessary as you would think.
Okay, great. We do have one question that came from Evan. He says, how can we balance our resume goals with our eulogy goals? When is one preferable over another?
They're both, reality is if you focus entirely on eulogy goals, you would end up it would be, I think of Mother Teresa, perfect example, maybe a saint someday, but, she was entirely focused on the eulogy goals and really didn't concern herself about material success. I think most of us, we are ones where we want to have a career, we want to have, a standard of living that will accommodate us, being able to live where we want to live, travel, have, things to provide, our family. So it's one where, it's always, it's a delicate balance that we all have to face. And frankly, I think that what I see normally in the ARC is that, like all the 21st century leaders that are in attendance, I think the ARC will be more towards building your resume at this point in your life, and then it begins shifting more towards the building that road to character, later in your life as you start to see that you started to accomplish what you're looking to accomplish, and now how do I make a more complete me? And so that I think is the trend that many of you will have. I just wanted to make sure I just pass along to always listen to that voice, though. And I'm not saying beat yourself up if you're not always, volunteering, but and just know that it's there, and know that it's something that you can help and be good. And think of it also that sometimes this is as much just being a good member of your family. If you need to help your parents, need to help your siblings, need to help a friend in need. I mean, there's so much that goes into this, but it's all about that character and who you are.
Okay, great. Thank you. Great question, Evan. Another question comes from William. In regards to starting a career path, should we lean towards choosing one that draws more interest personally or one that is in high demand?
William, what I would tell you is that my experience in working with people in career coaching is that it's people that have a deep interest in what they do are much more professionally happy than somebody that goes into a field that's high demand. Because it's a case that sooner or later, time is going to pass, and you are going to be in that particular career, especially if you stay in it for a while. That's going to be basically what you're going to be doing, for a profession. And if you really don't get anything out of it, it's going to leave you with a pretty empty feeling. And those people that really are interested in something and they become more motivated, they're more passionate about what they do, and success will follow. I'll give you a great example, and I'm living this now, is my daughter. She's a junior in college. We fought for 2 years over the practicality of her being a theater major, and I finally just said, you go ahead, you get involved with the theater, commit yourself completely to doing as well as you can, and I can see, the minute that we turn that corner, her life changed, our relationship changed, because now she's really following what it is that's going to be meaningful to her. It's not going to. She'll never get a salary that will rival a hedge fund manager. But I think when she looks back through her career, I think she's going to be very happy in what she did.
Okay, great. And then another question is, how do you stay encouraged during the journey on finding your inner voice?
How do you stay? I guess it's part of that is that we all, I think many of us, vast majority of us, are our harshest critic, and you just can't be that hard on yourself, and that I should be doing more, I should be helping. You do, what you do is just what you can, and try to help. And again, this is, I think, where doing small things is important, because at least you're doing something. I think, though, reminding just always knowing and hearing that inner voice is it's just something, because think about the opposite when somebody effectively just mutes that voice in terms of what kind of behaviors that can come out of that. So it's a journey. It's going to be a balancing act. It's different for every person, and the best I can tell you is just just try to be good, and that's and don't and try, and it can be some very simple things.
Well, I think it's always something to think about too when you're starting your career, and I can kind of speak on this. When you're starting your career and you have a job that you think was going to help advance, how do you balance those kind of moral dilemmas, maybe with a boss or a coworker or with a company? How do you balance those kind of moral issues that you might have where it's challenging your inner voice, but at the same time you don't want to jeopardize a career move?
Kate, you're saying as far as if you get asked to do something that you don't agree with, or that.
Yeah, I think so. Or when you brought up those examples of those, professionals,
Yeah.
CEO of, the healthcare, provider and those pills, if you're working for them, how do you kind of balance voice versus, jeopardizing your career?
Well, it's one that there's a lot of things that and these are going to be the kind of questions you always are asking. Maybe I won't address like a moral or a legal question just yet, but a more common one is that in order to do well in the job, you have to put in more hours, and putting in more hours takes you away from home, and so now all of a sudden you're not spending time with if it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, just friends in general, children if you have them. So is it, that's going to be something that it's going to tug at you as far as is it really worth it? And what am I ultimately accomplishing? I don't have an answer for that because it's tough. I've had that. That's probably been the thing I've been challenged with most of my life in terms of just how to find the right balance there. Because another thing about me, I'm kind of very competitive and driven, and where that can help you in terms of career success, can leave you a little empty when it comes to just being around with your family. And even, I'll tell you, it's even challenging when you are around, if you're not there in the present, and here you are, okay, we're going to go out to dinner, and what you're doing is spending your whole time on your phone, checking messages, and when you're talking to somebody, you're still thinking about something that's work-wise. It's all that's going to be kind of that challenge in terms of how do you kind of wrestle with the two. And it's just, I think it starts with just recognizing that you are indeed, that it is going to be a challenge, and it may require, kind of taking a career, just a different career, different company, different position. I mean, all of the above. I think what I've seen in my coaching is that one trend that was much more prevalent when I was in my 20s and 30s was taking job assignments that required a move. And so I moved, a variety of different cities, and that was all part of career growth. And what I'm seeing that's taking place much more now is that many people in their 20s and 30s are passing on moving. They just want to get a better balance and lifestyle, and kind of if it's Atlanta, they want to stay in Atlanta, and they'll pass on some bigger opportunity if it involves taking them somewhere else. So it's just going to be something that in terms of how to. It's going to be a challenge, I guess, from this point forward.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for all your time. If we don't have any other questions, I think we'll kind of wrap up here.
All right.
Patrick, is there anything else that you want to add that we didn't touch base or?
No, just thank you for the time. I really look forward to meeting some or all of you at one point or another during the next month that we're involved. And 21st Century Leaders is a great program. I hope you get a whole lot out of it.
Well, thank you again so much for your time and expertise on this. I think it was a great webinar and very thought-provoking, and I know our students got a lot out of it. Students, if you want his contact information, certainly you have it here on your screen. They can touch base and follow up with him with any additional questions that you might have or that might come up later on this evening or down the road. Feel free to reach out to him. We'll also be posting this webinar as it was recorded on our YouTube channel, so you can always reference back or share with a fellow friend or peer and have them review the webinar as well. So thank you again, Patrick, so much for your time. Students,
You're
thank
welcome.
you so much for being here and joining us this evening. And as you know, this webinar series is a monthly webinar series, so we'll be hosting it one Wednesday every month. And so hopefully you'll join us again later on this year. So thanks again, Patrick, and hope you guys all have a great evening.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
All right. Bye.